Hello and welcome to It's All About You, the best show about you on the internet. I am B. Dave Walters, writer, life coach, talk radio host, soon to be featured blogger on BeliefNet, which we're going to talk about. This is episode number 68, Wake Up. I can't really think of a better way to say that, unfortunately. But first, let me tell you my good news. I did make it into the final 5 to be the next featured blogger with BeliefNet, which is a really big deal to me. You know, BeliefNet's the world's largest religion and spirituality website, and I've been a big fan of theirs since I started in 1999. So having the opportunity to write for them is pretty huge. So I'm in the finals, but I need your help. I need votes. So if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, there's a link down at the bottom or over here to the side that you can click on to go and vote for me. If not, you can go straight to BeliefNet, which is beliefnet.com, strangely enough. And they have a big banner there that says click for the next BeliefNet featured blogger. Click on that, you'll see my name. You scroll down a little bit on the right hand side, click next to my name, B. Dave Walters, hit submit. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. The polls are open until August 31st, but I'm trying to get such a lead that no one can ever catch up to me. So please do this, I'd really appreciate it. You know, we've been talking lately a lot about this idea of enlightenment and making miracles or allowing miracles into your life. And we talked about this idea of metacognition. Metacognition, the ability to think about thinking, which is a skill that geniuses have and a skill that highly enlightened people have. And with practice you can develop and get to be really good at, right? Which would make you an enlightened genius. So good game. You just have to practice it. But something that goes hand in hand with that, you tell me if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew what you should do? You knew what you should do, but you did something else instead? Like you look at something and you knew was wrong, or you knew it was unhealthy, or you knew it wasn't going to get, wasn't going to work out well in the long term, and you did it anyway? Like, have you ever found yourself saying something like, I know I shouldn't eat this cake, but I know I shouldn't go out on a date with this guy, but I know I shouldn't take her back, but... You ever been in a situation like that? Probably, since it's kind of happened to absolutely everybody. Now, let me tell you, the root of all of your problems, the root of every difficulty you are having in your life, and arguably every difficulty you will ever have in your life, is rooted in one thing. And it's kind of 2 big words, but bear with me, I'm going to explain it. It's called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. What cognitive dissonance is when you hold 2 ideas that can't be true, but you believe them both. Okay? And so you make elaborate rationales and justifications to try and make sense out of the fact that there's these 2 competing ideas. Like, chocolate cake is bad for me. I know chocolate cake is bad for me. And yet, I want to eat chocolate cake. So, well, 1 slice won't hurt me. I'll work out later. I had a small lunch. It's no big deal. Right? No, I should not go out with this guy because he's a cheating jerk. But I love him. Therefore, maybe he'll change. Or maybe it'll be different this time. Or maybe it's my fault that he cheated. I should have done something different. Or blah, 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 blah. Right? We all do this. We all do this. Remember, human beings have an infinite capacity for self-deception. And this isn't just them. This is you. This is me. This is all of us. Okay? The only way you can get free from this is when you become aware of the fact that you do this. Like, I just posted an article up on Facebook about decision fatigue. It was on the New York Times. New York Times, decision fatigue. And they talk about the fact that, honestly, the act of thinking makes you tired. And as you have to make more choices, or as the day goes on, you get sloppier and sloppier at it, and you quite frankly make worse and worse choices. And so that's why it's not good to make like extreme business decisions at like 5 o'clock when your glucose is low, right? You have to kind of time when you're going to do this. Because here's a fact. And this is, I would say it's sad, but it's not sad because it's a fact. It's just something you have to come to accept. There's times you cannot trust yourself. There's times you always have to love yourself, but there's times you cannot trust yourself. I've shared with you again and again and again, I am attracted to psycho girls. I still am. I dated a whole bunch of psychos. And I realized that it never got me where I was trying to go. And so I had to just realize that, wait, the fact that a girl instantly gets my attention probably doesn't mean that I need to go up and try and talk to her. And eventually it let me know that it means I do not need to go up and talk to her. That if I'm totally like, ooh, her, that girl's nuts. That's just something I've had to accept, okay? And interestingly enough, it was once I could accept this about myself and be aware of the fact that I needed to make different choices in my romantic life, that I was able to find the right partner and get married, and been married for years, 2 kids, happily ever after, right? But I had to accept that what I wanted immediately was not always the right move, and in fact pretty much was the wrong move. And there's circumstances in your life that you do this too. You do this too, because everybody does this, okay? This isn't just me picking on you, but there's a couple of people that I've had conversations with lately that are in situations that they're like, I don't know how this happened. And I'm like, I know how it happened. It was obvious. And they're like, well, I didn't see it coming. I'm like, I know you saw it coming because I told you it was coming. I told you if you do that, then this is going to happen. And what ends up happening when you get somebody and you pin them down and you make them see these examples of cognitive dissonance, that you're like, you say this and you say this and these two things cannot be true, okay? When you point this out to them, they respond in one of 2 ways. They lash out or they ignore it. That's the menu. Very rarely is somebody like, hey, wait, you're right. What I'm doing doesn't make any sense. I should stop. In fact, I had a person recently that I was talking to that was about to make a very hasty relationship decision. And I was like, I think you should go a little slow because of this, this, and this. And miraculously, the person listened to me. It's kind of sad that at this point I'm actually amazed when people listen and apply my advice. And by going a little slower, they saw the fact that their partner was not who they thought they were at all, and basically avoided a huge train wreck of a relationship situation. Most people got to go ahead and have the train wreck, and then afterwards be like, I can't believe the train went off the rails. And I'm like, yeah, but the bridge was out. Like, you could see the bridge was out. Now, in situations like this where it's like, yes, the bridge is out, but I want to ride the train, therefore it'll be okay, or it'll work out, or somehow it'll still be okay, or I'll get off the train before it gets to the bridge, or maybe when we get there, the train will just fly, or something like that, right? Okay? So here's what I'm trying to get at for you. Already, hope you've become this habit of thinking about thinking. Just every once in a while, just check in with yourself and see where your head's at. Ideally, you want to do it when you're emotional, because when you're emotional, those are bad times to make choices, because you tend to just react when you're emotional, and very rarely is your reaction going to be the proper response to things. The goal is to be able to respond rather than react. Remember, you don't want to be enslaved to your emotions. You don't want to just have to do what you feel like. You just have to follow, your heart. Like, I just can't help it. Yeah, yes, you can help it. Yes, you can help it. You don't want to help it. That's the thing. You don't want to help it. Because the payoff of just doing what you want is greater in the short term than the pain of not getting what you want, or the pain that is inevitable in the long term. Right? But I'm here to tell you, you will save yourself so much trouble and so much pain. And pardon my French, and cover the kids' ears, but I have to say this, you will save yourself so much bullshit in your life if you just gain the ability to not just instantly go with whatever your feelings tell you. Because you have to learn to get a better handle on it and interpret things a little clearer, right? And really see, well, what are your emotions really saying? Right? And sometimes you just got to take a step back from a situation, right? So as you're going through your day, when things are going on, maybe if you're feeling frustrated about something, maybe you're just feeling a little frustrated, because until you get some practice at this, you won't be able to do it when you're like really mad, but maybe when you're just irritated, okay? Somebody says something to you and it just sort of gets under your skin, right? That's the perfect opportunity to sort of take a step back and say, wait a minute, where am I at right now? Where's my head at right now? What am I telling myself right now? Right? Because when you communicate, we all do this, we all delete, distort, and generalize all the information that comes in to our awareness, right? In general, we're never really interacting with what's actually happening. You're not really hearing my words. You're hearing what you think I'm saying, and you're hearing it through the lens of the past, okay? This is why we have so much difficulty in communication, okay? Because even if the speaker is speaking clearly, and the speaker is not always speaking clearly, but if the speaker is speaking clearly, you're not hearing clearly. And when you speak back, they're not hearing clearly either. So if I'm not speaking clearly and you're not hearing clearly, that's how misunderstandings happen. Okay? Like I saw a conversation that two people were having the other day. And one of them said something and it just sort of like snowballed. Like it was the type of thing like, you're so stupid. Well, what do you mean I'm stupid? Oh, I just think, you're silly. Oh, I'm silly now? Do I make you laugh? You think I'm funny? You don't respect me? And it's like, no, I'm not saying that at all. And then suddenly you're just like, bah, 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 right? Now, usually, in situations like this, where tiny misunderstandings become big misunderstandings, usually there's an underlying emotion there. There's an underlying emotion there, okay? That it just takes this one little prick to, like, make it blow up, right? To make it just come out, right? That's why it's not good to repress your feelings. Now, I know I just said you can't always trust them for your decision making. They're just a navigational system, right? But you need to be aware of it, okay? You need to be aware of the fact that, yes, I feel angry, or yes, I feel anxious, or yes, I feel jealous, or yes, I feel turned on, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to act on those feelings. Does that make sense? Now, another thing that has been going around, and I'm sure you're watching this on Facebook, and I've seen this happen like 5 or 6 times now, and I've seen it happen, usually it's got the same cast of characters. This is a slight detour, but it's something that I need to say. If you're having a Facebook romance, where you meet this person online and they just complete you and they say all the right things and you're so in love, don't be surprised if they're having those exact same conversations with like 3 or 4 other people. Because I keep seeing it again and again happening. And I can tell you why that is. People are like, oh, I can't believe this. Why would they do this? Well, let me tell you why. Remember, in these online situations, your best self and everything that you like about you, the music you like, and the quotes you like, and the links you like, and the jokes you like, are interacting with somebody else's best self. Everything they like and everything they like about themselves. You're not seeing the fact that, they might be 40 pounds overweight, or their feet might smell weird, and they might be boring, or they might chew with their mouth open. You're not seeing any of that. It's your best and their best. They're just kind of interacting, and it's like, oh, we're so in love, right? And it feels good. It feels good to have that relationship with people. It feels good to flirt. It feels good to feel special. It feels good to feel wanted. That's true of anybody. But there's people out there that once they kind of get hooked on that feeling of feeling wanted, they feel the need to be wanted by lots of people. Okay? Lots of people. And unfortunately, some people are impressionable. And if you've got a girl who's never been hit on, and then you come with like some serious game, most girls fall for it, unfortunately. Because it never occurs to them that maybe he says this exact same thing to like 15 girls. Right? And then, like, I come along and I'm all like, I think he does that exact same thing to other girls. Oh, wait, I can prove conclusively he does that same thing with other girls. And what happens? That cognitive dissonance. Well, I love him, but he's clearly a liar. So maybe he's not lying to me because he loves me too, right? This is the same situations we've talked about before. He says he's not going to marry you, but you want to marry him, so somehow he's going to snap out of it and he's going to love me and he's going to marry me, right? Here's the thing. This can only cause you pain. And if you're in a situation, now I'm not trying to just breed distrust between people, right? But it's like that quote from Maya Angelou. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time, okay? If you're getting into one of these online flings, take it slow. They move fast by definition. I know, I've seen it, right? but just go slow. If you're all totally in love, that's cool, but just, kind of be cool about it. Wait till you're in the same room with each other. See if you're all in love when you're in the same zip code, right? Lots of things make sense on Facebook and Skype that do not make sense when you're right here, okay? If there's big, glaring problems in your relationship, they're not going to go away. If you're an Orthodox Muslim and he's a Catholic, that's a problem, and that train's a-coming, okay? Don't try and fool yourself into thinking that it's not, okay? If you never want to move out of, Greece, and they never want to move out of Turkey, well, then you got a problem, okay? And so later on, you can't be all like, oh, I can't believe it didn't work. I can't believe, she didn't want to move here. It's like she told you the entire time she didn't want to move, right? You didn't want to hear it, and because you didn't want to hear it, you didn't hear it. This is what I'm getting at, because I'm pretty sure I'm starting to get low on time. You just have to start to become more and more tuned in to what is going on between your ears. You have got to get a handle on yourself, and you've got to get a handle on your emotions. You've got to do this. If you really want to have this happy, successful life and the storybook romance and all these other things, you've got to stop giving your power away. You've got to stop expecting another person to make you happy. You've got to stop expecting another person to define you. You define you. Okay? Right now you're letting the past and the environment and all these other things tell you who you are. Stop. Stop. You don't have to. You can put all of that down. You can put all of that past conditioning down once you become aware that it has you, and once you become aware of when it's happening. And the only way to do this is to just start paying attention. Just start paying attention. If you can't do it in the moment, if you can't do it when you're upset, then maybe you got to look back on the situation. Okay? Maybe you got to look back on the situation, and it might be painful, and be able to say, maybe when I caught him cheating 6 months ago, that was when we should have broken up. Maybe I convinced myself of what I wanted to see, and I wasted all this time, and now I ended up hurt worse. When the reality is, I knew then, and let's be honest, you know. Anytime you're like, I should blank, or I shouldn't blank, but blah, 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 you're doing it. You're doing it. So be aware. Be aware of what it is, okay? Now, I'm not saying never have that piece of chocolate cake. That's fine. Do it. But do it because you choose to do it. Do it because you're like, yes, I realize that this might hit me around the midsection, but I would really enjoy a piece of chocolate cake, and so I choose this cake, but I really will do a couple extra sets in the gym to make it up. In that is fine, because then you are responding, you are choosing your life, right? So I'm not saying don't ever give in to temptation, don't ever do something that's a little wild, because that's what makes life worth living. But do it because you choose to do it, and not just because you're swept along by the waves of impulse. The fact that we don't do the first thing that pops into our mind, that we don't do the first thing our emotions tell us to do, that's the only thing that separates us from the animals, okay? And if you're stuck in this cycle of just being blown by whichever way your emotions and hormones blow you, then you have to realize you're not really any different than an animal. Sorry. But the bright side is you're a self-training animal, right? So, I'm about out of time. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everybody who's already voted. Thank you in advance for voting. You are great. I love you. About to go on the radio. All of this stuff is up on my Facebook fan page, facebook.com/BDaveWalters. And links to everything I do is up on about.me, like me, /BDaveWalters. Start paying attention. You're great, and I love you. Okay, bye-bye.